Good morning. And just to clarify, the team at Lightfoot, Franklin and White authored that. I wished I could have done it alone. Well, I mean, clearly the whole purpose of this investigation was for us to take a deep dive, the CAC, and learn what happened so that we can learn from it going forward. I think it's less about blame and more about, what was identified in terms of how we could do this better in the future. Well, our charge was pretty narrow and specific, and it was as to how law enforcement interacts with protesters in a situation such as those that occurred on June 1 and June 3. So the recommendations that will come out of the report are recommendations that are specifically targeted towards police conduct in the course of a protest. Well, one of the things that we have a section in the report that focuses on the intel and the coordination at NAMAC with HPD and how that intel was gathered, and drew a conclusion that there may have been somewhat of an overreaction to some intel that was grounded in social media posts or rumors. However, as we stated last night in light of the events on January 6th, there's a fine line where law enforcement has to reconcile between taking things seriously and overreacting. And so, with that said, we advise that HPD move forward and continue to do the work that they're doing with NAMAC, but do so in a way where they increase and improve on assessing their intelligence. Okay, so in pages 70 to 75, what we do is we lay out the legal analysis in regard to evaluating crowds, disorderly conduct, unlawful assemblies. And we were very clear that, the CAC is not a tribunal, it's not a court. And these cases are decided in the court system on literally a case by case basis. And it's very fact intensive. And for that reason, we were unable to draw a conclusion one way or the other of how the court may have ruled in this particular situation. But we're hopeful that the legal analysis that's provided in the report will be very instructive as the HPD and the city and those involved in working with a protest going forward would have that guidance. Well, as I said last night, in my 20 plus years of practicing law, this was a great exercise in democracy. One thing is clear: the citizens of Huntsville spoke, and the leaders of Huntsville listened, and they took action based on what those citizens told them, and just pull the blanket off of this situation and allow this access of being able to take a deep dive and see what happened and get some recommendations about how they do better going forward. That's real democracy. Democracy is driven by the people's voice, and there was a listening and response to the people's voice on this issue. And hopefully, as a result of that, there will be some change and reform going forward so that the city of Huntsville doesn't have to face this situation again. Thank you for having me.